Hey everybody. So today I'm on to talk about Meet the Needs coaching, but I'm also going to be talking about two other things. One, neurodivergent experiences in the classroom and neurodivergent experiences um, from the perspective of neurodivergent teachers. So neurodivergent teachers um, neurodivergent students, and the programs that we use to support the neurodivergent community. Today was hard, and it's a part of why I'm on here right now. It was hard because when we are facing a teacher shortage, which ends up translating to an administrative shortage. So if you're a teacher and you're going back, and if your building is complete chaos, you're not alone. It can be really anxiety inducing, and it can be really overwhelming. And I'm going to implore you, I'm going to beg you to please lean into whatever community you have. It's why I'm on here right now. I actually recorded a live like 15 minutes ago, and I just ended up like going off, and I'm like, I'm not gonna use that. Probably should not use that. But now I'm calm, collected. I had a PD today. It's our first day back. I am autistic and I am ADHD. And today's PD was ABA from 8 in the morning to 3 p.m. I don't even want to touch on the fact that it was taught in a way that I could not even participate or really even wanted to. It was read strictly from a workbook, word for word. We did a fill in the blank. If you're an educator, you know that style of teaching is completely ineffective to retaining any information. The fact that that was an all-day training I received was an insult, because it told me that nobody really cares if I learn the information. Hi guys. It seemed like it was just being like something checked off. We're checking off a box. To have teachers in an all-day PD, I want that PD to be something that gets me creatively thinking, creatively engaging, using my skill set, using my problem solving abilities. And yet every time I go to a PD, no matter where I work, no matter what district I work for, it is the exact opposite of what we're told to do with our students, because it's not conducive to long-term or high-functioning learning. Do you hear me? Do you hear? Like, I was very upset. But professional development, yeah. So I think from a neurodivergent teacher, an important perspective to take, because more and more of us are finding out, millennials are finding out that we are ADHD, autistic, traumatic experiences. and that impacts the way that we learn. To expect us to learn or retain any information from reading off of slides or reading off of a workbook, that is not that is not conducive to our learning. That is not going to that's not going to give us any I don't know, information that we can use in a situation when we are in fight or flight, because that's pretty much what the training was today. It was how to de-escalate situations. And we know that when our students are escalated, there is a very good chance that so is the teacher. So the state of professional development, we really need to address, because I believe that is a huge part in why teachers are abandoning the field, because they just don't feel like they're being poured into. They're not being invested in. Their training and their education seems to be like it's just boxes being checked off. Another piece is that when it comes to the neurodivergent community, neurodivergent teachers, neurodivergent students, those voices need to be elevated when we're talking about that community. There is a saying, nothing about us without us. That is not the case when it comes to the programs that we're implementing in schools. And it's not the case with how we are handling, and this isn't just with my district or my state. This is globally. I work with teachers all around the world. This is not an isolated incident. For some reason, it seems like it is a pattern. No matter where you go, if you're talking to a teacher, okay, granted, I have not spoken to teachers in Finland. I have spoken to teachers in Denmark, and I get mixed reports back from them. But when we are considering implementing a program that is used to manipulate the behavior of a child, we have to consider the neurodivergent student population. We have to consider the neurodivergent population, because a large percentage of those kids that we're seeking to manipulate the behavior, a lot of those kids are going to be neurodivergent. We should be seeking the voices of the neurodivergent community, because nothing should be done about us without us. So to recap, 1, teacher professional development needs to be completely revamped, and it needs to consider actual retention of information, and we should be using the strategies that we're using in the classroom to teach teachers. Hello. 2, nothing should be done towards the neurodivergent community without neurodivergent voices. Not behavioral programs, incentives. Don't even get me started on rewards. Nothing about us without us. 3, so I talk a lot about rewards on my channel on Instagram. I was an advocate for PBIS. I was trained in PBIS. I've worked with PBIS since I first started teaching. And it made sense, right? Like, who doesn't like a piece of candy for sitting in their chair? I'm going to put in the chat And I am going to make a carousel, and I'm going to make a story, and I'm going to make a reel and maybe a YouTube video, because I need to shout this from the rooftops. If you take away anything from this live, take away that rewards are only effective in motivating monotonous, repetitive tasks. That's it. The research proves that. It has proved that intrinsic motivation is a much more effective way to motivate students, especially if what they're learning requires creative, higher thinking, problem solving. Rewarding behavior reduces the likelihood that the behavior will be repeated in the future. We've known that since the 60s. And why are we using rewarding or incentivizing in schools? It's easy. It's been done. We have programs for it. It takes a lot longer to try to figure out what need is being is missing. You know, what psychological or basic need is missing in the classroom. It takes longer to figure that out. But the issue with rewarding, other than that it decreases the likelihood of the behavior happening again, it decreases the likelihood of solving creative problems. It decreases the likelihood that the student will internally, it decreases the likelihood that the student will internalize that they are a kind or moral person, specifically when we reward for kind and moral behaviors. We have seen that over and over again in trials, stretching from like 1990 to, I think the last one that I looked at was in 2022. So the research is out there. Books have been published. It's pretty popular if you look at behavioral economics. Businesses are not being encouraged to incentivize anymore. So what do we do? If you are starting the year and you might feel like you are like on an island, you're alone. If you feel like that, lean into your community. Lean into your community, whether it's on here, whether you do some type of mentorship, you do coaching with me, you do I don't know, district events where you go out and you meet other teachers. Lean into your community, because if you have these thoughts, you have these opinions, you've done this research, or you're a neurodivergent teacher, there are others out there. And yeah, we are ready to welcome you with open arms. You are not alone. Number two, you have to understand true motivation, not surface level, superficial motivators. And that is rewards and punishment. That's what that is. You have to understand the underlying need that is motivating a behavior. And it typically is the absence of a psychological need, autonomy, belonging, and competency. For my method, I specifically look at safety and comfort along with those psychological needs. It could be hunger. It could be students are really tired. You cannot reward a student into being full. You cannot reward a student into being awake. The only thing you're going to do is gaslight that kid, and then they're going to develop ODD. Okay, maybe I shouldn't. I am not a psychologist here. That was my experience. Like, that's what I'm saying. I have direct experience with these programs. I am a product of these programs, and not in the good way. I didn't graduate high school. It did not reward me into walking down the aisle for the graduation ceremony. Didn't reward me for that. Into that. No, I love education, and I went to college. I went to the university. I was intrinsically motivated, because intrinsic motivation is the most powerful type of motivator. And it is going to be the one thing that saves us in the classroom if we get rid of the superficial reward systems in place right now. If you'd like to get rid of the superficial reward systems in place right now, I do have Meet the Needs coaching, which starts August 25th, and I'm opening up registration August 15th. 8 seats will be available. Come and join the community. You will be coached by me, a neurodivergent teacher, autism, ADHD, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's 14 weeks. We'll all be together for 14 weeks. That's 3 months. You'll have me holding your hand. Yes. We'll be meeting weekly. You'll be meeting monthly one-on-one with me. We're going to work on goals and habit formation and using universal strategies in the classroom to make sure that you are having a good year and no longer relying on systems that don't work. They don't work. If they worked, we wouldn't be in the situation we're on today. Because PBIS was implemented in what, 2012? So ABA, PBIS, it's got to go. Nothing about us without us. Yeah. So if you are interested in coaching, just you can DM me, or you can comment. I don't know what else you could do. You can email me, teachingtoariot@gmail.com. Yeah. So lean into your community. I love you all. Thank you all for listening to me vent. Today was hard. It was just, I don't know, maybe I'm taking it personally. Maybe I'm too sensitive. It was just hard. But now I feel better. Bye, guys.